My wife said, "It's just a crush," but her text told me she was planning a life with him. I could barely hold the phone steady in my hand. The screen felt heavy, as if it were made of lead instead of glass, and my thumb kept trembling, hovering over the messages that had shattered everything I thought I knew about us. Her words were like acid, slowly eating away at me with every new text I scrolled through. I wasn't sure what I had expected to find, but it certainly wasn't this. I stared at the conversation in front of me, her words so casual, so alive in a way that they hadn't been with me for a long time. It wasn't just flirtation, it wasn't just harmless compliments. It was plans, dreaming about vacations, texting good morning and good night, telling him how safe she felt with him, telling him how she felt seen, how he made her feel like she mattered in ways I hadn't been able to for months, how much she liked the way he smiled, how she couldn't stop thinking about him, about the possibility of something more. I swallowed hard, but it didn't make the lump in my throat go away. It was like I'd been punched in the chest, and the air was refusing to fill my lungs. I could hear her footsteps behind me, but I couldn't move, couldn't look away from the screen. I knew this wasn't supposed to be happening. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. But the words were right there, in front of me, undeniable and raw. And I didn't know what to do with it. "Jake." Her voice was soft, almost tentative, like she knew something was wrong, but wasn't sure how much I had seen. She stood a few feet behind me, wringing her hands in that way she always did when she was nervous. I didn't want to turn around, didn't want to face her, because I knew what would happen next, but I had no choice. I had to hear her lie to me again. I slowly turned, the phone still in my hand, and looked at her. She was standing in the doorway, her face pale, her lips parted like she was trying to figure out how to apologize, how to explain. But there was no way to explain this away. "What is this?" I asked, my voice shaking. I hated how weak it sounded. I hated that I couldn't hold it together. She didn't answer right away. I watched her eyes flicker to the phone, then back to my face, and I saw that familiar mix of guilt and fear cross her features. "Jake, please, just let me explain." I clenched my fists, trying to keep my hands from trembling. "Explain." I managed to croak, barely able to keep my voice steady. "How do you explain this? You've been texting him, planning things with him. Don't you think I deserve more than just a crush?" Her breath hitched, and she took a few slow steps toward me. "It's not like that," she said, her voice quiet, pleading. "It's just a crush. It's stupid, I know it is, but it's not serious. Please, Jake, it's not what you think." I wanted to believe her. I really did. I wanted to tell myself that I was overreacting, that this was all some kind of misunderstanding. But I had read the texts. I had seen the way she spoke to him, the way she trusted him. I had seen her words drip with something I hadn't seen in her voice for months: desire, longing. And I hated myself for even considering it, but I couldn't help the thought that rose in my chest. She was already thinking about leaving me. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice cracking, and I watched her lower her gaze, her eyes filling with tears. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I could feel the anger rising, hot and ugly, but it was tempered by a deep sadness that made it harder to breathe. She hadn't meant for this to happen. That's what she always said. But now she was telling me she had feelings for someone else, that her heart was somewhere else, and it was killing me. For a moment, I just stared at her, unable to find the words. What could I even say to that? What could I say to someone who had been lying to me for months, telling me everything was fine, telling me she loved me, while at the same time telling him how safe he made her feel? I opened my mouth, but the words didn't come. Instead, I found myself standing there, holding the phone like it was burning my hand. "It's just a crush," she repeated, like that was supposed to make everything better. "I never meant for it to turn into this. I promise." "You're telling me this is just a crush?" I laughed bitterly, the sound coming out strangled. "This isn't a crush, Rachel. This is emotional cheating. This is a betrayal. You've been planning a life with him, planning a future with him, and you want me to believe it's just a crush." She stepped closer, but I couldn't take it. I couldn't let her touch me, couldn't let her comfort me when I felt like I was drowning in the mess she had made. I backed away, putting distance between us. My mind was spinning 1,000 thoughts racing through my head, but all I could feel was this crushing weight in my chest. "I love you," she said, her voice barely audible now. "I do. I swear to you, I love you. But I've been feeling so alone lately. I've been feeling like we've been drifting apart for months, like we're living in two separate worlds. And he's been there, Jake. He listens to me. He makes me feel like I matter again." "He makes you feel like you matter?" My voice was rising now, louder than I wanted it to be. "You think I don't care about you? You think I haven't noticed you've been pulling away? You think I don't feel alone too?" She opened her mouth to speak, but I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it. The thing is, I had felt her pulling away for months, maybe even longer. We'd been married for 4 years, and everything had started to feel distant. She wasn't interested in the things we used to love doing together. She was constantly on her phone, always texting or scrolling. And I kept telling myself it was nothing, just stress from work, or maybe she was just tired. But now I couldn't ignore the truth anymore. I couldn't ignore that she had found comfort, found something in someone else. "I just wanted to feel like I wasn't invisible," she said, her eyes pleading with me for understanding. "I needed something, Jake. I needed to feel wanted again. I felt like I was suffocating." It wasn't even about the texts anymore. It was about everything she was saying, about how she needed something I couldn't give her, something I didn't even know she was looking for. And the worst part? The worst part was that I didn't know how to fix it. How do you fix a marriage when the person you love has already checked out, when they've already started giving their heart to someone else? I felt my knees go weak. I collapsed onto the couch. My head was spinning. My body felt like it was shutting down. I wasn't sure how much time passed, but when I finally looked up at her, she was standing there, tears in her eyes, waiting for me to say something, anything. And I realized I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what was left to say. "I can't do this anymore," I whispered. "I can't keep pretending that everything's okay when you've already chosen him." Her face crumpled, and I saw a flash of real pain in her eyes. She hadn't expected me to say it. She hadn't expected me to finally see it. But I had, and now there was no going back. Part 2. Her face crumpled when I said it, and for a second, I saw a flicker of regret, like maybe she hadn't fully understood what this would mean, what it would do to us. Her eyes welled up, and she took a step forward, but I could barely look at her. I wanted to hold on to some part of the woman I thought I knew, but everything she had just said, everything I had just discovered, made that impossible. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I never wanted to hurt you. I swear I didn't. It was just, I don't know, Jake. I just felt so lost for so long. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to fix it." She stepped closer again, her hand reaching out like she was trying to bridge the distance between us, but I recoiled, pulling away from her touch. It wasn't that I didn't want to feel her hand in mine anymore. It was that I couldn't stand the idea of her hand touching me, knowing where it had been. "I thought I could fix this," she continued, her voice barely a whisper now. "But I see now that I've already gone too far. I'm sorry." The thing is, I wasn't sure if she was apologizing because she felt bad for what she had done, or because she was sorry she had been caught. That doubt hung between us, thick and heavy, making everything feel like it was slipping through my fingers. I couldn't tell if she was crying because she missed me or because she was about to lose the safety net she had found in him. And I hated myself for wondering that. I hated myself for not being able to trust her anymore. I sat there in the silence for a few moments, staring at the floor, my mind racing. Her apology felt hollow now, like a last-ditch effort to convince me that everything could go back to normal. But nothing would go back to normal. I had seen it in the texts, in the way she had spoken to him. This wasn't just a crush. This wasn't some passing infatuation. This was real, and it had been growing for longer than I'd been willing to admit to myself. I had been blind to it, but now I couldn't unsee it. "You need to go," I said finally, my voice flat. It wasn't anger, it wasn't yelling. It was just finality. The words felt like they belonged to someone else, but I couldn't take them back. "You need to go, Rachel. I can't do this anymore. I can't be in a relationship where I'm constantly questioning everything. I can't be with someone who's already planning a future with someone else." Her breath hitched, and for a moment, I thought she might argue, but she didn't. She just stood there, eyes wide and tearful, like she was waiting for me to take it back. But I couldn't. I couldn't pretend anymore. Not when the truth was staring me in the face. "I never wanted to leave you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I love you. I do. But I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to unfeel the things I feel for him." I could feel the bile rising in my throat. Unfeel. Is that what she thought this was? That she could just undo it? Just pretend like nothing had changed? "You don't get to unfeel, Rachel," I said, the words finally coming out like they had been trapped in my chest for days. "You don't get to throw away what we had for something that wasn't even real." She started, but she didn't finish the sentence. I think she realized there was nothing left to say. What could she say? She had already made her choice. She had already given her heart to someone else, and now she was just trying to make it seem like I was the one who was wrong for being hurt. I closed my eyes, trying to steady myself. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to end it like this. But I had to. I had to stop pretending. If I stayed, I would just be holding on to something that wasn't real. If I stayed, I would be nothing more than a shadow, a placeholder in her life until she figured out what to do with me. She took another step forward, but I stood up abruptly, holding my hands out in front of me. "Please," I said, my voice strained. Don't try to fix this. It's too late." Her lip trembled, and I saw a flicker of something like guilt, or maybe just desperation, in her eyes. But it didn't matter anymore. She had made her choice, and now I had to make mine. I turned away from her, walking to the front door. I could hear her footsteps behind me, but I didn't look back. I couldn't. "I'll leave tonight," I said, my voice steady. "I'll pack my things, and I'll go." "Jake," she whispered, but I didn't respond. I couldn't. She didn't stop me when I walked out of the door, but I could hear her sobbing from inside the house as I stood on the porch. Part of me wanted to go back, to comfort her, to tell her everything was going to be okay. But the part of me that had been quietly dying for months told me to keep walking. So I did. I didn't even know where I was going. I didn't know where to stay. I didn't know what the next step was. All I knew was that I couldn't stay there in that house, in that life, with someone who had already moved on. I ended up at a hotel a few miles away, sitting on the edge of a bed that didn't feel like my own. I couldn't stop the tears from coming. They were just there, spilling over, and I didn't try to fight them. I hadn't cried in months, but now, with everything that had happened, it felt like my body was just emptying out. The loss, the betrayal, it all hit me like a flood, and there was no way to stop it. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at the wall, trying to figure out how I had gotten here. I thought about all the good times, the moments when we were happy, when we were in love. I thought about our first date, our wedding, all the little things that used to mean the world to me. And now, all of it was tainted, everything we had was just gone. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't go back. I couldn't keep holding on to a love that wasn't being returned. I couldn't keep pretending that we were still the same. So I stayed in that hotel room for the night, feeling the weight of it all. I didn't know where I'd go from here, or what my life would look like without her. But I knew I had to move forward. I had to pick up the pieces and start again. And maybe, just maybe, I could learn how to trust again.